Hello, beloved. It's me, Robin Hallett, intuitive healer and light sparkler at robinhallett.com. And this is Tea with Robin. On today's episode, let me show you the ways that you are amazing, perfect, and meant to be in this moment now. No fixes, no changes, no takebacks. Our inspiration today, I will read you one of my favorite poems, and we'll have a letter. Why is it so hard to get people to love us the way we would like to be loved? And is it okay to ask people to love us a certain way? We'll dive into that coming up. Come grab a cup of yum yum and meet me here. Well, hello, beautiful soul. It's me, Robin. This is Tea with Robin. Hi, welcome back to the podcast. This is episode 125. If you're new around these parts, this is a podcast about healing and authenticity, which is a word I know gets kicked around a ton. But I mean about living exactly as you are, who you are in the life you're in. Just showing up and learning how to do that can be a challenge. Am I right? Friends returning. Hello, hello, hello. Hi. How's the weather in your heart been these days? How have you been doing? Have you been kind and gentle with yourself? Showing up with love? Practicing? Being easy on yourself? I hope so. This ride is intense enough, if you ask me. And, we could all do with a little more ease and tenderness. What do you say? Over here, it's a beautiful day. I'm recording on a Saturday. Ooh, and it's 1:11 on the clock right now. I love that. So cool. Recording on a Saturday. I'm really digging recording on the weekends. I've sort of figured something out. It only took me 124 or so episodes, but it's good to pick a day of the week. It takes the stress off the table. I don't know why. It took me a while to get to that point, but here I am, and I want to celebrate that. It feels wonderful. Deciding on a day to record instead of leaving it all over the place takes away so much pressure and other things that I'm just left with such joy and love and excitement, and it's wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So just finished healing sessions for the day. Saturdays, I usually have 3 sessions back to back. And yeah, beautiful. I love having this time to come together with friends on the journey. I feel like it's sort of like when you connect with hearts that are on this awakening journey and get it and sort of even know what this is about, or you've been here listening to me or something like that. It's sort of like 2 aliens who have found each other on the planet Earth, and all we do is sit together and make googly eyes and say things. Yeah. I love it. And there's a lot more that happens. I know. It's a total unfurling and healing. That's what healing is, just allowing ourselves to relax into who we truly are. And that's what I want to talk about today. So what can I tell you about how I am? I'm awesome. It's a beautiful day, super snowy, minus 19 with the wind chill. And it always cracks me up, like, the weather and the stories about the weather. And I keep telling you, I'm really practicing loving winter. And so I am. And I'm really surprised to tell you, in 4 weeks, it's going to be almost spring. Can you believe it? So now I'm starting to grieve winter already. I tell you. So I've been just, I have a little, like a creative desk behind where I sit and do healing work and recording the podcast. And I like to sit there and watch the snow fall, do my little creative doodads, look at the icicles forming, and just, I don't know, it's just so cool. Winter, it's a beautiful thing. Sweet week over here, just loving my time. I tell you, being somebody who's practicing learning to find miracles in the ordinary, day in and day out, to find meaning, it's really been a joy. Yeah. So We'll talk about that in a second, but first, you know what comes next, don't you? Did you bring a cup of yum yum? I have a delicious cup of my instant coffee. It is so good. This one is called Mount Hagen Organic Italian Yada Yada Instant Coffee. Sometimes I just cannot wait. I like to just pour it in. It's sort of like put the tea bag in the cup and go. Salt and a little heavy whipping cream. And I like to say cheers to you and to me and to our awesome sauce and how good we already are. Yes. So cheers. Oh. Boy, that is so good. The colder it gets, the better it tastes. It is so good. Yum. So friends, if you're listening to this live, I'm going to say happy Valentine's Day to you. Love. You know, we're still in the 24-hour period when this comes out. So happy Valentine's Day to you. From my heart to your heart. And I say love from the heart. A day of love, a day of celebration. From you to you. It's so, so good. And I also want to wish you a happy Chinese New Year. Year of the Ox. Year of movement. Lordy, lordy. Make it so. I know, hi. Were you here last year? I was here last year. It's a weird thing to say. Wouldn't it be nice if we had some forward movement? Because I say this to you all the time. We're good right now. We're beautiful right now. But I know how much we would love some forward movement on a lot of issues. And so, Happy New Year. May this be the beginning of some beautiful movement, some easing, some strengthening, some transformation, all the things that we would love. And may it be wonderfully productive in the areas that actually will mean something to your journey, Yeah. And that's what I want to talk about today. Because if I picked a topic for you, it would be to love and appreciate who you already are. And to work more closely with the stories you tell that keep you in hell. Am I right? Yeah. Happy New Year. And let's dive into today's message. Here's what I want to talk about. I don't want to be out of a job or anything. I like what I do for a living. I do. I love healing sessions and helping friends and to get to sit and be with people you love and enjoy, and even the ones where it's awkward and weird, because that happens probably in every job. It's still so wonderful because we're learning, we're exploring, and it's such a special thing to get to come together in the name of remembering who you truly are, overcoming suffering, remembering what matters. I love it. It's really a gift. And the message of the week keeps coming through. What if we knew we were already perfect? What if we knew we were good? What if we knew already that there wasn't this crazy striving and perfecting and improving that needed to happen before we could receive the blessing? The way sometimes we can be so triggered by a situation and so stuck there, like we don't have to suffer intensively before that can go away. If we could relax in the knowing that we're all right, that we're good, what would change for you? So say you have this worry, this story about who you are in your life, what's wrong with your life, and what's wrong with this time now. And, the nature of that is just to keep ruminating on it. And the more we think about, we give something our focus, the more it remembers itself to us throughout the day. And then we begin to see the evidence everywhere. So sometimes when I talk to friends, we really go over that together. Like, look at all this evidence you've amassed for yourself about why things are spinning out, or why your life stinks, or why you're such a terrible person, or why you have to work harder at getting better, or whatever it is. It's like, well, sometimes it's better to just say, I've been really hard on myself and really invested in the idea of my badness. And so I tend to struggle. I tend to suffer and struggle a lot and resist things that might make my experience a little bit smoother and easier. And then I could give my mind to things it would experience aliveness through in a new way or a different way. Instead of being alive in my worry or my struggle about how bad I am or how old I am or how unwell, how my body is failing and I'm not doing enough about it, or how my life is going nowhere, or this pandemic has ruined everything. All these things that are really just stories. Instead of giving my energy to that, I could decide something new and I could give my mind to something new. The Course in Miracles talks about how we've given everything all the meaning it has for me. We like to be focused on things, worried on things, thinking on things, chewing on things. I do believe that's part of our nature. But the thing is, if we're giving all the meaning everything has for us, and we're wrong, we're making ourselves wrong. We're making our journeys wrong, our lives wrong. And that means we're wrong unconsciously on some level. We're wrong in the eyes of God. We keep this, whether you believe in God or not, it's like in the eyes of the universe, that sense of badness we can carry, how we're not we're not with the in crowd, so to speak, that feeling. Part of it is because we continue to make meaning that says it's our badness. It's our badness. It's our fault. We're not okay. Is this making sense today? Because even if it's making sense, there's nothing you need to do but have it make sense. Things will start to click differently from here. Instead of accepting where we're at, accepting our situation, loving ourselves, being kind, being our own friend, having our own backs, we're giving it meaning that's closer to, my life's a waste and I'm not amounting to anything and everybody hates me and it's horrible and nobody wants to play with me and I might as well go eat dirt. And, it just starts to feel so pointless. So we could start today. I talk to people all the time who are obsessed for days on end with one story. And I'm in that camp too at times. I don't know. Maybe not everyone will admit to that. I just don't think it's that big of a deal because as many conversations as I've had since 1990 something with people and hearing the innermost thoughts and stuff, this is how it is for everybody. Pretty much, obsessive, worrying, being afraid, and then obsessing some more. So the mind has given, I have given this all the meaning it holds for me. And the meaning I assign to things is always an attack on myself. It's never in love, in peace, in the interest of healing, of seeing myself as a spark of the divine who came here into this body to experience life and have fun. Have fun. F-U-N, the F word. Everybody's afraid to say fun. To have fun. No, instead I'm going to spend the whole day thinking about my fat booty and what I'm going to do. No, I don't know. I don't mean to diminish any of our experiences of suffering because I know how intense it can be and I know how it goes. But there is so much more you actually would love to give your mind to. So making this a regular practice of catching the obsessing, catching the struggly, catching the judgy, and helping yourself let it go and focus on something that does bring excitement to you instead. And I wonder what that would be for you, you know? To be excited about something, to be worked up into a lather about how things work in a certain way, learning new things, expanding my mind, that's one thing. It's a beautiful thing. Have you ever noticed how if you're in the middle of a creative project, regardless of what the project is, if you're having fun, you're doing something, you're thinking about it, you're dreaming about it, you're excited, there's no room in those times for how big is your caboose, really, or what a bad person you are, or how your life has been a waste up till now, or the story. Everybody's got a story. It comes and it visits them. Giving your mind to things that you're excited about is one way I notice it doesn't have such a grip on me in those times, I think it's helpful to have something you're going towards and something you're leaving behind. In my mind, that really helps me. If I'm giving things meaning, and I want the meaning to be, I'm here to have fun. I'm here to help people. I'm here to serve. I'm here to have a good time. I'm here to do all the kooky little things I love as an individual, I love to do. I'm here to do that. And I'm here to do it in a fun way. And so that's what I'm going towards. And what I'm leaving behind is that sort of soul-sucking, being convinced that I'm a loser. If you've been around the last 124 episodes, this is one of my famous little eddies I can get stuck in. I'm a loser, I'm a loser, I'm a loser. It's not a big deal to me anymore, really. It's not as dire. I don't even remember there was that one summer where it was so bad. I wasn't sure how I could stay here. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't sure. It was so bad. I don't even remember that in the same way now. Now I would totally walk with myself and help myself know my time is my own, and how I choose to spend it is on me. It's up to me. And even in the direst, surest moments where you're like, no, Robin, what are you saying? You don't know. I am a loser. I am a piece of carp. You should see the mistakes I've made. You should see how far off I am. If you could talk to me, I could convince you. I am the one case none of what you're saying will apply to, It's so cute how we think that about ourselves. We're the only one. I feel like even now I would know how to help myself through that. And that is to say, what are we going toward? And what are we going to leave behind? Because it doesn't matter. We're here. It's not the interesting question anymore. Have you wasted your life? Or are you a piece of carp? There is no satisfying answer to that question, because the part of you making those statements is not connected to the spark of the divine. It's looking for the reason to blame itself, It's not interested in oneness. It doesn't care. It wants to stay in separation. It wants to be the bad one. And so that's what happens. And then we set up this whole elaborate network of stuff to be embroiled in throughout the day. So when you have something you're going towards, something you're about, that's really helpful. Really helpful. Oh, here comes that thought again, about my big booty. I have no booty to speak of. I do have a belly though, but I'm not really body focused. I do sometimes get focused on those loser stories. I think that's more juicy for me. There's more juice there. I do happen to think my body is beautiful, and so I don't have that part, but I do get into, have I wasted my life? So-and-so doesn't love me, that kind of stuff. So right now I'm in this interesting thing where I'm going towards other things. I'm distracting myself. I'm playing. I'm doing art. I've got a new commitment in private. Now it's not going to be private. So hi, I'm about to tell you a secret. I'm not talking about this with anybody anymore. Like, I'm not giving it life anymore. I think that's part of it. And I'm going towards something. So what are you going to go towards? If this is resonating for you, I vote we pick something for you that you can go towards. When you think things, it all feels hopeless. When you think you've had enough. Sure, you've had enough. What are we going to pick for you? What are we going to pick for you to get excited about? What do you want to learn? What do you want to use your mental energy toward instead of this thing you do? How will you do this differently? How will you see this all differently? If you want to learn how to fly a plane or speak another language, or, I'm very excited right now about packaging up seeds from my garden. I don't even care to explain it, to sit with these little piles of seeds of things I grew and remembering how I was worried because I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just going by my intuition, and I try not to Google too much, but I planted this great garden last year to kind of help with the construction traffic, and there's a big house. I haven't talked about the mountain in a long time, but there's a big house that's being built next door. And it's still under construction. And even now, I'm amazed at my garden. It's so beautiful in the middle of winter. It's gorgeous. The stalks, all the evidence of what I grew. And so I sit at my little desk and I play with the seeds. And, this is the giggle of joy. I'm not embarrassed. It's the giggle of joy. Do you want the giggle of joy? Then you've got to stop telling the story about the caboose or the horrible life or how old you are by now. My God, you're so old. Your life is over. We want to make meaning in ways, but you can make meaning. You can do it from a place of excitement if you're willing. Are you willing? I guess that's really the only thing left to ask you. Are you willing to go against everything you thought was true about yourself? To say this all could be just a big crock of doo-doo. What I need to do is love myself more. What I need to do is be fierce about that topic I keep talking about. Stop giving it life with my friends or whatever. I need to. Yeah, I'm willing. I'm willing to embrace the blessing. I'm willing to get excited about things. I posted a picture. This is so good. I posted a picture on Instagram at some point this week of a slice of my orange because it was so flipping beautiful. And I, for days, thought about this orange slice because, it comes from the whole of this universe, this whole entire universe. How did that happen? If you could see, this, the perfection in the little dots where the essential oil sacs I don't know what it's called, but, like all the dots and the color and then these little, it just boggled It boggled my mind. It was so fascinating. It took me all around. I thought about so many things, and that got me on this little journey of inspecting things around the house, plants, in the snow, in the snow outside, looking for different things. And yeah, such a fascinating, beautiful, fun, joyful week. So the bottom line is, let's recap. You're going to tell a story about yourself that is not nice and stay focused there for long periods of time. And the longer you do it, the more evidence you amass. And the more evidence you amass, the more you believe the story as true. But it's true. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Are you willing to give your energy and your focus to somewhere else? Just because you're anxious doesn't mean you have to spend the whole day spinning. You could dance it out. You could shake it out. You could get on the treadmill. You could get very excited about other things and give your energy there. So we give things all the meaning it holds for us. It's okay to assign new meaning then. And it's okay to make a new decision when you get focused on what a loser you are again. Just step away from the story. Back away. Back away. Because you're always awesome. You're always amazing. And that's the truth. There's no judgment on how you're living your life or the things you're doing or not doing. But we give things the meaning. And that means we're in control of the upset and the outcome and all kinds of stuff. I'm not saying any of us has to do this perfectly. That's another one of those, what do you call them, myths on the... I feel like the French guy from the Pink Panther. Myths on the healing journey. That, I'm going to get to this hunky-dory place where I'll never be upset again. I'll never have a struggle again. I'll never have a wobble again. I'll never reject myself again. I'll be just in this wonderful, peaceful, fantastic place. And I think that's just what you think before you really invest deeply in loving yourself and having your back and realizing there is no parent that can parent you the way you can parent yourself, love yourself. So I know I had some tears this week. I know I had some new things to release this week. And what is there to be ashamed of or embarrassed about? I know people are. I know even I run the risk of bringing that up. Somebody's going to say something patronizing to me about it. But that's their deal. You know what? That's their deal. It's not a big deal if you have a process. Some of that is so productive and good, and you have to release it to be more in alignment with who you truly are, with where you're really at on this journey. You know what I mean? Stuff has to come out, clearing the closet out, so you have room for new fabulous awarenesses about yourself and your one beautiful life. Remember that Mary Oliver poem? Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? Love that one, the summer day. Some of this stuff is good. It's good to get it out. It's good to be productive with your upset sometimes, to get it out. But give yourself something you're going toward and get excited. Slice of an orange, a little plant growing in your home, art project, garden project for the summer. I don't know. These are my examples. I don't know if they're exciting to you. I'd love to learn to fly someday. I really would. A little plane. I think it would be amazing. I think about that sometimes. It almost doesn't even matter if I do it. It's so satisfying. A big reason why we're here is to be satisfied, to be excited, to be lit up, to be alive and joyful, and play. Do your daily do in a way that you're excited about. It seems mundane. It seems like this can't be what I'm supposed to be doing. Just like listening to beautiful music and gardening and doing my day job, and isn't there more? And then again, you start beating up on yourself. It's just what happens. So give full permission to this thing I'm talking about today. If you can accept that you don't need to suffer in order to have joy, that it's okay if you're not perfect according to some version of someone else's fantasy about who you needed to be throughout your life, then you're free. You're free to explore things that you would like to be worrying on. Like, if you do want to learn how to fly a plane, there's probably a lot to learn and a lot that your mind will be involved in that'll also feel exciting and fun and suspenseful or terrifying. But at least you're not going to be going on and on about how you suck. You have always been awesome, always been amazing. You will continue to be so. And right now, sometimes there's so much happening energetically speaking. I tell you a lot. I don't really study astrology, but I can feel the planetary hoo-ha happening. There's a lot moving and changing. And so if you're not thinking about it, you might be very tempted to start obsessing on your own heart, worrying about your own stories, and making doo-doo where there was none. You're awesome. You've always been awesome. You've always been amazing. That you don't know that sometimes is natural. It's natural to forget. It's natural to get caught in places. It's natural to focus on the new part is just, what are you going to go toward? How will you help yourself begin to say, hey, put the finger out, hey, you, this is the shtick you always resort to. Stop. What are you going to go toward instead? There are no brownie points for struggling the hardest about how much you don't like yourself, But there are tons of brownie points for loving what you love and celebrating and staying in a sweet spot. And I'm not saying you got to be happy all the time, okay? All right. So peace, lots of love. I hope you love this one. Hope it's 5-star. Cheers. Gonna have to go get some more. I'll be right back with a beautiful poem coming up. See you in a second. Okay, hi, I'm back. Did you wait long? Yeah. I came back with some rose tea. The Tulsi Sweet Rose Tea, one of my favorites. And, Valentine's Day. I love to have lots of roses all through the year, but especially now. I've got some gorgeous roses and a cup of rose tea because, yes, it's just sweet for me. And I hope that you do sweet for you. And, because you matter. And nobody can love you quite like the way you can love yourself. You know what I mean? So it's good to be good to you. So inspiration today is that, how can you love and honor yourself? I said I want to read you one of my favorite poems. I've read it here before a bunch of times. But today I have my art journal out, and Some of the pages are stuck together. I think sometimes we forget how important it is to love ourselves, to spend time on ourselves, to focus on ourselves. And when we're suffering, all the stuff I've just been talking about today, mostly it's not knowing oneself, which creates the emptiness, the suffering, the yearning for someone, something outside ourselves to fill that place. Not knowing how to be connected to ourselves. Oh, yes, hold on. I'm going to take a little detour because as I'm opening my journal, I just found a bunch of pressed rose petals. And God, they are so, listen, they are so silky and they still smell perfectly like roses. I love roses. This is my reclaimed book, one of Jeff's books. It's a picture book, cloth cover, and I like to paint over the pages. I don't know what I'm doing really, so it's even better. So here's one page with a beautiful poem from Derek Wolcott. I didn't really know until I looked into it how much he has done in his life, because I've always known the one poem and loved it and felt so changed by it. But it's interesting because he was knighted, Nobel Prize, lots of accomplishments, that worldly stuff that we seem to think we need. And I bet to talk to him, he would have said it didn't matter. I loved what I loved. I did what I loved. And it was the art of expressing from my truest self that really was everything to me. I'll bet. It reminds me of how sometimes we search outside of ourselves for accolades and acknowledgments that don't even matter, really. We think that we need to be seen as somebody, something excellent. It's about what other people think of us. But, a lot of us have loved this poem or other poems without ever even knowing a thing about the person. It's such a beautiful thing to realize that a PhD or some kind of earthly credential would not have made the special thing more special to you, because it had to do with how it pinged your heart. Isn't that so true? Wow. I'm not saying anything against earthly credentials. It's so important to follow your heart. And many times the way we're led to serve has to do with, that kind of stuff. Like, if he wasn't published, maybe I never would have learned of the poem, or you wouldn't have learned, right? So I'm not even criticizing anything. I'm just saying, for those of us who struggle, feeling like, well, who am I? You know how we get. When you put yourself in that place of wanting recognition, wanting to be seen, wanting to be finally acknowledged by those people, it doesn't matter. What matters is if you know who you are and you work to get to that place of knowing who you are, So yeah, look at that. Sir Derek Wolcott, University of Alberta's first distinguished scholar in residence. It's amazing. And onward. So I wanted to read it from this art journal because it's a page of self-love to myself. It's just sweet. Some pictures from my garden, and it's so good to give to yourself, especially the things you're trying to get from someone else. We're going to have a good letter coming up about that too. So here we go. Derek Wolcott. This one's called Love After Love. The time will come when, with elation, you will greet yourself arriving at your own door, in your own mirror, and each will smile at the other's welcome and say, "Sit here, eat." You will love again the stranger who was yourself. Give wine, give bread, give back your heart to itself, to the stranger who has loved you all your life, whom you ignored for another, who knows you by heart. Take down the love letters from the bookshelf, the photographs, the desperate notes. Peel your own image from the mirror. Sit. Feast on your life. I wonder what that means to you. To me, it's really so much of my journey has been about learning to love myself. And I don't know why I'm laughing, but it's so obvious, man. That's why. But just learning to love myself, thinking about the literal mirror work I started out doing with Louise Hay from You Can Heal Your Life. One of the first things I ever found on the journey, first books I ever came to, and looking in the mirror and doing that mirror work and not really getting it at all, but trying, wanting to try. And today, really having my own understanding of what that means, that you really see yourself. And it will feel like company, the kind of company that is so sustaining and so powerful, that you can make the hard choices because you respect and love yourself so much. And you can make the sweet choices. I'm not saying they have to all be hard, but you can do things that seem so challenging to yourself at one time and to other people. Yeah. So just wanted to share that with you because it's so beautiful. So beautiful. And I love this art journal. I love that too. So, that is hot. Rose tea. So here comes the part of the show where I'd love to ask you to support the podcast. And I really appreciate those of you. Last week I had said, please leave a comment. If you're on social media, leave a comment on a public post. And I appreciated that many of you did that. A few of you said you were going to leave reviews, and you did. And I just wanted to say thank you. I really appreciate it. I welcome you supporting me on this journey. And always, I love so much when you take what I'm saying and apply it in your life. That's got to be the best ever, because that's really our primary function here, according to me, is to serve, to help each other remember the light. So I love all of that. Please, if you love this, write something, share something, tell someone about this show, this podcast. And always, I thank you for that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So this week's letter, I'm just going to dive right in. Hi, Robin. Thank you for all the podcasts. And so often you say just the thing that reminds me we are all connected. I'm really struggling today. I wondered if you'd talk about the people close to us when there's problems. Why is it so hard to get the people in our lives to love us the way we want them to. I need to pray that I can learn to accept people for who they are and not get so angry and hurt by their selfishness. Do you have any suggestions? Thank you so much, Ruth. Well, my friend, already awesome, perfectly perfect right now. That's who you are. In your feelings, in what you're expressing, it's important to accept ourselves right where we're at with everything we're feeling. And to not heap more onto judging, I have to learn to accept people. I don't accept people. We want to go right into the center and give ourselves some support. So you're frustrated. There's nobody quite like the people close to us to really bring us to our journey. I often say that's how I came to the Course in Miracles, because I was in such an intensely suffery place with people in my family, and I knew I was the one with the problem, and I knew that I needed to get free. I was beginning to have these big ahas and little inklings too, that waiting around for people to get something really deep and offer it to me was really the long way around, and probably a total sabotage move set up on my ego's behalf, My ego that's only interested in separation, like I was saying before, doesn't want to be at peace, wants to attack or defend itself attack other people or defend itself at all times. A lot of us go around preoccupied with those kinds of thoughts. So the first thing is to come to the side, sit down, and have a breather and just let yourself have your say. Some of us spiritual cheerleaders, we're so intent on getting somewhere that even in the privacy of our own minds and hearts, we're still cheerleading ourselves through something instead of letting ourselves feel and heal it. And that's the truth. So I love how you said here, you say just the thing that reminds me we are all connected. I like that a lot because it's a more evolved way of seeing things you may not have realized, and that is we're all connected. The people who are seeming so selfish to you, who don't seem to get you where there's problems, and they don't love you the way you would like them to, you're connected. You're connected to them energetically. And there's probably a push-pull going on there, energetically speaking. I've sat across from many a pair, a child, a parent, two friends, romantic partners, whatever, where I see it happening, that push-pull is going on, but somebody will openly admit to how they've been doing things intentionally because they're so hurt to hurt the other person. And we're kidding ourselves if we think we're innocent in that cycle. But I'll go first. I spent a lot of time saying I was innocent, blameless, and everything happened to me and I didn't know why. That's just part of the journey. It's part of the victim journey. It's part of where we need to go to find ourselves and realize what's really going on. So it's really great that you realize we're all connected. And if I want things to change out there, I can begin to change in here, in my heart. And that's when I began studying the Course in Miracles and really understanding, like, I'm never upset for the reasons I think. I'm never upset because so-and-so forgot my birthday, or so-and-so made such a big deal about this other person not giving them the thanks and gratitude they felt they deserved, while this person telling me has never thanked me, not once shared any of my work, or left a review, or done anything to demonstrative, the exact same thing they're pissed off at somebody else for. Like, they've never done that for me. First of all, it's natural for us to get into these cycles of thoughts. But waking up and realizing I'm not upset because of that. I'm upset because I've forgotten my connection to myself, to my highest self, to the God in me, the spark of the divine I am expressing as Robin in this lifetime. That's why I'm upset right now, because I've sort of placed all the weight and importance in the other person's hands and said, please bless me, please redeem me, please see me, please love me, please buy me the right kind of thing I wanted. Please remember our anniversary, Valentine's Day, birthday. Please do the dishes like I asked you to do. All these things. We turn things into these huge things. We're not upset for the reason we think. We're upset because we're not in our center, and we're asking other people to make us a priority so that we believe we are one too. And it's never going to happen. Jeff and I were talking about this the other day. We were laughing because I'm just like, how much of this do I want to tell? And yeah. So we were laughing because sometimes in our relationship, we talk about things we're each working on in terms of being in a deeper relationship to each other and with each other. And so showing up and just communicating and connecting, it's really sweet. But we were laughing because this one day I was like, oh, I sometimes wish he would surprise me. You just dip into these places where you kind of feel like you don't matter to your beloved, which is also totally, it happens. You think you've been taken for granted, or a friend you think has forgotten you or something. It's natural. It's okay. Like, don't be embarrassed if you're relating to me right now. It's just natural. But on that particular day, he came upstairs to my office with a package in his hands. It's hilarious if you knew, like, the significance of that. Like, within the same hour, he came with a present that he had ordered. And it was late by a day. And it arrived in that hour that I had just been thinking, I don't know, And it's funny. So we were talking about the willingness to be open to receiving each other as we truly are, instead of having all these conditions. These conditions that they need to love us a certain way, and only this certain way will it be the right way. Will it really mean something? It would mean so much more if I didn't have to ask you. Anyone ever say that one? Yeah, but it's not the one. It's not the one I wanted. I've done those jerky moves. It's not quite right. Don't even be alarmed if that's your first response. You're allowed to work through your wiring. You're allowed to work through your original programming. And hopefully you're with people who get it, that we all have that programming. And if you're not, you still get to know you have programming you're trying to heal. So that I struggle, that you struggle because other people in our lives suck at times, or that we struggle because they're not paying enough attention to us, or they're not doing what we love, or it seems boring, or any of that. First of all, we have to come back to, you're giving that all the meaning it holds for you. You're assigning the story to that and doing it all. And it feels to me like there's a very big difference when we're willing to work on things. It's sort of like we're moving toward connection. And when we're interested in pointing out all the faults, we're moving toward separation. It's just, yeah, but they really are jerks. They might be jerks. Why are you the jerk living with the jerks? You know what I mean? Why give our hearts to the jerks? I'm sorry to keep saying it that way, but it feels so right. So why do that and call them that? When we end up holding ourselves in the same energy vibration when we name it that way. It's good to feel the upset. It's good to recognize the problem so you can make some new moves. And sometimes, we talked about spiritual relationships a bit last week. Sometimes relationships are at a level where you can make a request. Come from the I and make a request. I love some books. How to Be an Adult in Relationship, David Rico. Any books that look good to you from Gabor Mate, because early childhood trauma and addiction and codependencies, and I just feel like he knows that map so well. And nonviolent communication. There's another one, successfully living with screwed up people. That's pretty good too. These will all be in the show notes under Tea with Robin 125. The show notes, there's a link here right as you're listening below the podcast. It's really tough if we're going to go through life with our arms folded across our chests, with our bottom lips out in the corner. I sound like such a jerk, but it's really the truth. There are better ways of getting your needs met than that. I happen to be related to people who are busy with punishment techniques, ignoring and punishing and being cold, trying, when you get together, giving a little snub here and there. And it really ticks me off sometimes, but it also keeps me on my toes and helps me practice seeing the light in them and permission to not like how they're being and permission to be honest. I don't like it when you speak to me that way. It hurts my feelings that you, whatever, my feelings are hurt. When they say to you, I want to do better, that's not the moment to grind some dirt in their eye about something else they did. It's like a willingness dance. It's so courageous to show up in relationship. To acknowledge that sometimes the gap is so big and the expectations we have are so high, it's impossible to fill. And that's, when I know I have the problem, it's just impossible. Because I have people, like I was saying, when they behave that way, it does keep me on my toes, but you can bet the next free day I have no intention to call them to go for a walk and spend a beautiful day together. I'm giving them a wide berth. I feel like people, in a way, this is an old way I would have said it, but it still feels so true today. People have to earn the right to know your heart, to be on your inner circle. And sometimes we don't get that. We decide people should be there or not be there, but that's not the same thing as them showing you. That they can self-reflect, that they have a capacity to be the friend or partner or whatever. So, yeah, some thoughts today. I must have decided wrongly because I'm not at peace. I want to be at peace. And so I'm willing to hand this over to Spirit. And I won't be ashamed and I won't feel guilty about the way I'm feeling. I'm just going to hand it over and allow my mind to be undone by Spirit, by God, by the Holy Spirit. That comes out of the Course in Miracles. I don't know if it's chapter 5 or chapter 21, or maybe you have a prayer. The reason we practice things is so we can develop the understanding. I have given this all the meaning it holds for me. If I'm looking at someone and I'm seeing someone who's not loving me the way I want them to, I have to own that I've defined it, I've decided it, and now I'm even labeling how it's not correct. And as long as I'm interested in pointing out how it's not correct, I need that problem to stay. I need the crisis to be here. I need to be forgotten, whatever your issue is, So maybe something in there feels helpful to you. I certainly enjoy talking about these topics. I feel like not enough gets said out loud about it. And on a podcast like this, it's really nice because nobody feels they're being spoken to directly and everyone has permission to receive this how it fits for them, It's nice. So don't send this to that person and say, Robin thinks you should listen to this. Don't do it, boo-boo. So yeah, and be open to receiving, be willing to be surprised. Remember that people can change. We're all working on things. Don't hold people at 5 years ago, something they did 5 years ago. Think of all the changes and advancements you've made in 5 years, Let's be willing to be surprised and let people off the hook and also be our own best friend. That's the journey. Yes. Again, 5 more stars for the Robin. Cheers. Friends, if I can read a letter for you, my email address is hello@robinhallett.com. I'm the only one that reads my mail. I care that you know that. And if I can help, please reach out. And I'm always here to help you in a session. Sometimes that's just the ticket, especially for stuff like this. It's just so knotty and gnarly at times, isn't it? Hard to see clearly what's going on for us at times. So, thank you. Well, I suppose that wraps another gorgeous, beautiful, amazing podcast, episode 125. It's in the can. Wow. 125. Wow. So good. So it's Sunday over here. As I finish this up, Sunday early afternoon. It's actually Valentine's Day. So my sweet and I, number one, we have a little date coming up. And I'm baking some sourdough bread. I gotta go. I'm just still in that stage of kneading the dough every 40 minutes. Pretty good. We made pizza for the first time Friday night with the dough, and it's amazingly delicious. So good, so good. I'll pop the recipe I followed in the show notes too, because, why not? So I wish you a most beautiful week. I hope that you will take some nuggets from this episode. Don't just listen, participate. Practice with me. We're doing this together. And I'm going to see you here next time or in a few minutes. I haven't had said this in a while. Same bat time, same bat channel. Lots of love. It's me, Robin. Hallelujah. Hail it. See ya next time. You're amazing. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Bye-bye. Life is very short, let's make the very most of it. You are a precious gem and I love you. Do, 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 do. We are here to shine and shine bright. You are a gem and I love you. Do, 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 do. Life is precious and you are a spark of the divine. So shine like you know it, rock it like you mean it, 'cause you really, really mean it, and mean it, and mean it, and mean it, and mean it. Don't let crispy people tell you that you aren't sparkly, 'cause you are, 'cause you are, 'cause you are. Thank you. I like that. I love it, honey. Thank you. Give me a kiss. Thanks.